Okay, we're live. Hey
Dope.
guys, this is
Let's
the
go.
fourth episode.
Fucking way. No fucking way. This is gonna happen. I walked into a movie theater, right?
Yeah,
With this is gonna be a heavy, heavy spoiler talk, by the way.
yeah,
Heavy. Massive. In fact, not only for the movie, but also for the comics. And past Spider-Man / MCU movies.
yeah,
So if anyone hasn't watched that shit, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. But yeah, it's gonna be great. So you already watched it, right?
yeah,
It was great.
yeah.
I think we should start talking about, how like what we thought of the movie. Not getting into any details, but how it made us feel. Did it meet your expectations? Did it make you come? Did it make you nut in your pants? What happened?
Oh man, I think like from what I heard, like for others, like they they were spoiled by the spoilers. From what I heard, but for
They
me,
were spoiled by the spoilers.
no, like the leaks. I mean, like
Yeah.
yeah, which I kind of get. I later on I was like I put my score of the movie was like a 9 out of 10. I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but I think I might have to change that because I gave it a 9 out of 10 because they didn't do the meme. You know that meme where there's three Spider-Men and they
Yeah.
point at each other. Yeah, but what I saw on an Instagram post they actually did it, but not in
Yeah,
the
they
same
did.
place. Yeah, yeah,
I that fuck. That movie's a fucking billion out of 10, bro. I don't know how you even dare to give it a fucking 9.
yeah.
How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? I didn't want to. You remember last time we talked about like this movie? I told you that I didn't want to tell you exactly how I felt, so I was talking pretty neutral about the movie.
Yeah.
I was nutting in the fucking movie theater, bro. Like, bro, when they did the fucking like, first of all, when Matt Murdock like
Yeah.
showed up, right? I I literally started screaming, and I was like, I fucking told you. Because here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The leaks showed that Matt Murdock was going to be in the movie. They showed
Yeah.
that Toby and Andrew were going to be in the movie, and sure, like after you see Matt, you're pretty much like, oh, so the leaks were true, right?
Mm.
But to me, it was equally as like holy fuck, because it was Sony, Marvel, they all knew it was a foregone conclusion that they
Yeah.
were going to be in the movie. But it was still impactful just to see it, to be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
holy fuck, it really is happening, like,
Yeah.
holy, because walking in, I pretty much knew they were going to be in the movie, but there was still that like 1% doubt of like,
Yeah.
well, I still
What's gonna
don't
happen?
know for sure.
Yeah.
So surprised me, and also I didn't know how it was going to happen, and honestly, they couldn't have handled it better. Like, holy fuck. But yeah, I walked in, bro. I was screaming, I was clapping, I was nutting, I was punching my brother for 90% of the movie because I was so excited. But it was fucking amazing. It
That's
was
good, man.
great.
That's good.
Not only I had sky high expectations for that movie, and it like surpassed them like a billionfold. Holy shit.
That's good.
Yeah,
Man.
shit.
For me, I just thought that the movie would have been longer, like, but it was good. It was long enough to be like an Avengers level length movie, right?
Yeah,
For you? Yeah. I
yeah.
just thought it would have been like longer, like for me, because like I don't know. There was like, wasn't there other characters from the other Spider-Man movie that wasn't in it? Like, what's the other one?
I
Was
mean,
it
yeah, there was
Vulture?
some. There was
Vulture and
Well, no, Vulture was from the
Amazing.
Tom Holland
Yeah,
movies.
yeah,
The Amazing ones, Harry Osborn wasn't in it, which was the Green
yeah, yeah,
Goblin in those movies. Which
yeah,
actually, I was talking about that
yeah,
earlier today with someone, and it was he should have been in the movie because he knew that Peter Parker was Spider Man.
yeah.
Whereas, like someone like Electro, I mean, he never really found out that Peter Parker was Spider Man, and he was still in the movie. But
Oh,
I rationalize it by just saying that either he had a hunch and the hunch was enough, or that Harry told him while they were working together,
uh,
or that since Gwen Stacy was kind of yelling out his name for 90% of the second movie. maybe Electro overheard them at some point and was like, "Oh, so that's Peter Parker, right?"
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I rationalize it like that, try not to think about it too much. But holy fuck, that movie blew my goddamn nuts off, dude.
Did you
Holy fuck! What,
did you watch the? Oh, I don't want to say it because it's a major spoiler already. We're already spoiling it. Now.
bro? Fucking say this is spoiler
Like,
talk.
did you see the end credits
Yeah,
with what's it called, Venom?
yeah. Which here's the
I
thing.
thought he
I was
was in the
su-
movie, but I
no,
didn't expect him to be in the post credit scenes.
I was super fucking excited for like Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock and that Venom to be part of the MCU. But they literally, it was just an extended meme. They just brought him in to kick him out. And then they just left a tiny little bit of Venom in there, which, by the
Oh my
way, I
god.
came up with two fucking theories for it.
Yeah.
Because, everyone who wasn't part of the original, like the universe, right?
Yeah.
Like that dimension was
Yeah.
taken out after the spell. So Venom and Eddie were taken out, but that one part of Venom was still there. So what I was thinking, and also the initial spell brought in everyone who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, brought them into this dimension, right? So
Yeah.
it brought in Doctor Octopus because he knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Brought in everyone who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and that was fine and all, right? But here's the thing:
Yeah.
Eddie and Venom, why would they know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Now, here's the thing: Venom did say that he knows a lot of stuff, right? So he probably knew that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I mean, he definitely knew that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Not Eddie
Yeah.
Brock, but Venom. And
Venom.
so
Yeah.
Eddie kind of just got dragged in by association, right?
Ah. Yeah.
But here's the thing: they both get kicked out of the universe or that dimension
Yeah. Yeah.
after the spell, except for that one part of Venom. So my theory goes two ways. One, that Venom was actually originally from that dimension, and
Mm.
the only reason he got dragged back was because of Eddie. So now he got dragged back because of its association. But the one part of Venom that was not attached to Eddie, was not associated with Eddie, stayed back in this universe where it belonged. Or my second theory is that Venom, shed a little bit of venom, of
Mm.
course.
Yeah.
And so that one little piece of venom that you see in the counter
Yeah.
is now like an offspring of venom and not exactly venom.
Oh, I know
And
what you
so
mean.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
technically was born in that universe, so
Universe.
it stays
Yeah.
there,
That's a good theory.
right? But one of the best things about that movie is I have been very incredibly critical of the as a Spider-Man fan, I've been incredibly critical of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Not because of Tom Holland, I think he does an amazing job, right? And I
Yeah.
honestly really like the movies. I really like Spider-Man in the MCU. But as a Spider-Man fan, I do have to criticize some things. I didn't like that he was babied around all the time, never actually got a chance to be Spider-Man. He was always Spider-Boy.
Um.
Whenever he did something like actually heroic, it was always like almost overshadowed by someone else. Like for example, in Homecoming, everything actually hero like that he did was kind of just overshadowed by Tony.
Yeah.
And he kind of always lives in the shadow of someone else and always babied around, and he never really gets the credit that he deserves as Spider-Man. And he's
Mm.
very young, and he never. I mean, you don't really ever see him struggle. Which I know that's a meme, that everyone wants to see Peter Parker struggle, but honestly, that's an important part of his character.
Yeah.
Um, like at one point in the movie, I don't know if you remember this, but he says like, "I'm the most famous person, but I'm still broke," right?
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
You don't ever feel like he's broke. You don't ever
Broke.
feel
Yeah.
that because like he's always. I mean, first of all, when you first meet him, he looks like he's living in a pretty middle class apartment in
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
in like Queens, right?
Yeah.
Which is not exactly cheap, right? Is not exactly living like a bum.
Yeah.
Whereas in like like the previous Spider-Man films, you could see that the house wasn't great, especially in like the Tobey Maguire films.
Yeah.
When he moved out, he was living in pretty much a fucking sewer, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't great, and you could definitely see that he was struggling. But in this one you didn't really see it. And then May like starts Feast, right? Which is a very like lucrative like homeless shelter. So it's like and they get a donation from like Stark Industries, and he's pretty much an heir to fucking Tony
Tony
Stark's
Stark,
bullshit.
yeah, basically, yeah.
So so it never feels like he's struggling really.
Yeah, yeah,
So I always saw him as like Spider Boy, and I was also, I was also like, he never really takes up that responsibility of Spider Man. He never really lives the with great power comes great responsibility.
yeah.
And um, I was also like, where's Uncle Ben? He has never been
I
mentioned,
know,
right?
right? That's what I was
All
saying.
these things, and you never see his back. I was very critical of him, but this movie completely shut me the fuck up. It showed me that these movies were not Marvel, or not Marvel, but Sony, Disney, Marvel, everyone coming together to just not understand Spider-Man. Because I initially, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, he's a great character in the movies, right?
Yeah.
But they're not getting the core values of Spider-Man, right?
Mm.
The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He was never a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We talked about this last time, right? He went
Yeah.
to fucking space in like his fucking second movie or some shit.
Yeah.
So third movie actually. He went to fucking space. So it's like, okay, he's not a friendly neighbor. He never got the chance to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to
Yeah, it
live
feels
the
like it's
down
rushed.
to earth life. Exactly. He grew up too fast, but at the same time they don't let him grow, right?
Yeah. There's no room for
But
growth.
this movie showed me that it's not because they didn't understand Spider-Man. It's because these movies were not his trilogy. It was simply the longest origin story that we've had so far.
Wow.
Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home are just Tom Holland's Peter Parker's origin story. That's what it
Yeah.
is. And
Basically.
you can really feel like at the end of the movie, after, everything happens and everyone forgets about him,
Yeah.
he now has to live that life. He doesn't have Aunt May. He doesn't have anyone,
Yeah, it's just
literally.
him.
He has to live by himself in an apartment. He probably has to get a job to pay for it. He now
Yeah.
has to struggle financially, has to struggle with relationships, has to struggle with everything. And finally, for the first time, he didn't have his suit made by a fucking machine, or he
Yeah.
didn't have Tony Stark make his suit. He
Yeah.
made his
Made it
suit
himself.
himself, and it
Yeah.
looks like a normal Spider-Man. So it doesn't have any like super cool tech.
Yeah.
It's just
Gimmicky.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it just looks like a Spider-Man suit. And he made it himself, and he jumps out of that window, and that moment when he jumps out of that window is where he becomes Spider-Man and stops being
But
Spider-Boy, because
boy,
now he understands the responsibility
literally,
of being Spider-Man. He understands
as a
what he
hero,
needs to do, that his calling is to be Spider-Man. And something that they tell you, like the that not they tell you, but the other
they
two
show
movies
you.
for
Oh,
the
okay.
two trilogies, um show you is they
Yeah.
show you that side of Peter Parker. They show you that side of, I have to sacrifice a lot of things in order to. In many ways, Spider-Man is plagued with tragedy, right? Being Spider-Man is plagued with tragedy,
Yeah.
and Spider-Man is one of the most tragic superheroes, and it's because he's so human. That's what makes him so human. Like in like the Raimi films, you
Yeah.
see him many times. He like rejects Mary Jane, but not like rejecting her, but almost like, especially in like Spider-Man 2, he's like, like, I'm just living a life that just doesn't fit in well with yours, right? And then in
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3, they try it out and then it just doesn't work, you know? Because they
Mm.
still have a lot of issues, because being Spider-Man is a great responsibility, and just he just can't afford to have those meaningful connections, right?
Yeah.
He has to sacrifice a lot. And in the Andrew Garfield movies, you can see that same dynamic with after the first film where he makes the promise to like leave Gwen Stacy out of it.
Mm.
He tries to like push Gwen Stacy away in order to like keep her out of it, because it's his responsibility, right?
Right.
um but then he still tries to fight it, just like Toby tried to fight it, and then it doesn't work out, and then it kind of works out, and then it doesn't work out, and then you know but then with this one, you also see that moment when he gets forgotten, right?
Yeah.
And he goes back to the donut shop to meet with MJ and
Mm.
remind her of him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then he decides that basically that they're better off without me. They're
Yeah.
doing great. They don't need me. They're already doing great.
Yeah.
So he decides to step away because he realizes that he has a bigger responsibility, which is being Spider-Man,
Yeah.
right? And that he can't keep dragging people into his life as
Life.
Spider-Man, because it'll keep hurting them, right?
Yeah.
And you can see that maturity and that growth in him, and everything that makes Spider-Man finally culminates in that one last scene where you see him swinging around as Spider-Man, not as Spider-Boy, not as the little kid from the Avengers, right? You see him
Yeah.
as Spider-Man, the
Spider-Man.
standalone
Yeah.
superhero who can stand by himself, for himself, who doesn't need anyone else to be complete, who just is Spider-Man. You know, he doesn't
Yeah.
need Tony Stark and Captain America and all those Avengers to like validate him as a superhero. He can validate himself as a superhero by just being Spider-Man. I love that. I love that movie. I love this movie. I adore it.
I never saw it that way, but that's pretty good insight. I'm so surprised. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's amazing.
It's like it ties it all in together as, like you said, it's like is all the three movies, right? Is
Yeah,
actually his origin story, basically.
exactly. And it gives him some closure. Not because they're gonna end his trilogy because he's got more coming.
Yeah.
But it gives him closure because it gives closure to Spider Boy and it gives rise to Spider Man. And what helps with that is actually Andrew and Toby in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Because one thing that I'm really glad is that they didn't just come in the final battle to be the glorious Spider-Man. I'm glad that they came in as Peter Parker
Yeah.
and they remained Peter Parker for a long time. You didn't just get to see Spider-Man talking to Spider-Man, talking to
Yeah.
Spider-Man. You got to see Peter Parker talking to Peter Parker, talking to Peter
Parker. Yeah.
Parker. Being
Yeah.
human, they got some time to breathe. They actually got time to present themselves as people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is what helped Tom Holland become Spider Man, not Spider Boy, right?
True.
Which is something that, for example, someone like Tony Stark wasn't able to do because Tony's life just it was in a different direction. You know, it
It
was a
was.
different
Yeah.
life than the one that Peter Parker was living.
Yeah. Yeah.
But being
Definitely.
presented with two Peter Parkers that had to go through a lot of stuff and learn a lot of stuff the hard way, you know, he
Yeah.
was presented with a lot of shit. You know, he became vengeful at one point, right after May died.
True.
But Andrew taught him that it led him nowhere, right? That being vengeful led him to just darkness
Yeah.
and led him to a worse place. And you know, he learns a lot from Toby, from Andrew about what it means to be Spider-Man, you know, through seeing them act and through talking to them as Peter Parker. And that's what helps him really understand that he needs to be Peter. He needs to be Spider-Man, right? He can't just play Spider-Man. He needs to be
The Bee
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
You know, it's not a
Yeah.
game. It's actually what he is. It's his life
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's his responsibility, right?
Yeah.
He learns that word because right before that, it was more like it was his job almost, right? Like he's like, oh, I'm supposed to save the city, right?
Yeah. It's like a chore for him. It's not.
Exactly. It's like, oh, it's what I do, right? It's just what
Yeah.
I do. I mean, it's like it's cool and I can do it. But
Yeah.
now he learns that it's not because it's cool and he can do it, it's because he has to do it because he has the power to do it and he has the
He has the
responsibility to
possibility
do
to
it.
do it. Yeah.
So now it's more serious for him.
Yeah.
Now it's not just about being Spider-Man to save the world or being Spider-Man to save the people he loves. It's about being Spider-Man to give everyone hope, to be that beacon of hope for people who might not be feeling great that day, right?
Yeah.
Even from someone who's getting mugged to someone who's simply sad, just seeing Spider-Man swing by is already enough to like brighten your day because you know that things can get better. And actually, Andrew talks about that in his second movie. You know, when he's like throwing rocks with Harry, he says that that's what Spider-Man is. It's a symbol of hope. It's someone who gives people hope that things eventually might get better, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Spider-Man is to a lot of people, not only as viewers and fans, but also in universe, people in Manhattan, people in Queens, people in Brooklyn, people in New York, people in really anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Because that's also something that like Into the Spider-Verse touches upon, which is like anyone can put on the mask. So it's really anyone
I still
can feel
haven't seen that
hopeful.
movie. I fucking swear, man. I
You
gotta watch
really
that,
need to
man.
watch it, bro. Honestly, it's the second best Spider-Man movie after No Way Home. It used to be my favorite, but No Way Home topped it because it really
Like
like
I think they referenced it in that movie, but like They didn't have like
No, they Miles Morales.
yeah,
They
like
don't direct
no
into
no no,
Spider.
like not direct reference, but like indirect reference. Like how what's his name? Electro reference. Like he said that. Oh,
Yeah, he
I
references
thought you.
Miles Morales.
Yeah yeah
Oh, that part was funny as shit. Oh,
yeah
speaking of, Electro was so fucking funny in that movie. But to me, the funniest part of that movie, which actually I found not a lot of people laughed, which I was disappointed
yeah. Which
because it
one?
was so subtle. And people laughed because they made the joke twice almost in a row, and people laughed the second time, but not the first time. Because the first time was so good. It was when Electro and Sandman were
Sandman.
talking in the living room, and
Yeah.
he was like, "So how'd you get your power?" And he was like, "I fell into like a vat of eels, right?" And then
Yeah.
he was like, "How'd you get your power?" I fell into a super collider. And then Electro was like, "Damn, gotta watch where you fall," right? That part was funny as fuck because it acknowledged how stupid it is. A lot of origin stories are, "I fell into something," right? I fell into something.
yeah.
But then they do that joke again. They make that joke again with when Andrew and Toby are talking, and they're like, and he's like, he fell into a pool of eels, and then Toby's like, "That'll do it." Right? People laughed at that point, but I think the way like Jamie Foxx delivered that line was just so much more efficient. It was great. Jamie Foxx is funny as shit. Like that, like, you rescue people in need. You're from Queens. I just thought you was gonna be black, right? That shit was funny as fuck. But yeah, that was a Miles Morales reference. Honestly, Into the Spider Verse, I feel like is the because here's the thing, right? I
yeah.
feel like the Raimi movies.
Yeah.
I've never been an advocate for, oh, the Raimi movies are perfect, and oh my god, the second movie's godlike, and oh my god, like Toby's Spider Man is great and Toby's Peter's amazing. I think they're great. I think they're amazing, beautiful movies, but I do think they lack a lot of the core Spider Man and Peter Parker stuff. But I think the same of Andrew and of Tom. Um, because I think they represent different parts of Spider Man in a way.
oh.
And if you look at their character, you kind of get it. Toby represents the more good, like kind-hearted, but
Yeah.
also troubled heart that Spider-Man has.
Oh
The
yeah.
nice guy who is also susceptible to feeling rage, to feeling anger, to feeling vengeance. Right?
Yeah yeah
Andrew has that quippiness and that cleverness that Spider-Man has. Right?
yeah
Of always being a little bit, making light of the situation in a good way because he's trying not to take it too seriously
yeah yeah
while also caring about the situation deeply, right?
yeah.
And Tom has that youthfulness that is just that looking at everything through the eyes of a child. And because
True.
when you meet him, he is a child,
Yeah yeah
but looking at everything through the eyes of a child. And I feel like towards the end of No Way Home, Tom kind of learns from all of that,
yeah
which is why I would say in the movies, Tom is the most complete version of Spider Man and Peter Parker because his origin story, and especially with the addition of Toby and Andrew,
yeah
allowed him to become a complete version of Spider Man. Now, I
yeah
still think that
yeah.
to me, the probably my favorite portrayal of Peter slash Spider Man is the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 game. Because I feel like it's a perfect marriage of like everything
But
that
which one
makes
is
Peter
this?
Parker.
The one that came out in which year?
2018.
Oh, 2018.
Yeah. Is the perfect marriage between everything that makes Peter Peter and everything that makes Spider Man Spider Man, right? And the story really reflects that. But I feel like Tom really grew into that with No Way Home. And I feel like Into the Spider Verse acknowledged because there's so many spider people in
Yeah,
Spider Verse, right?
yeah.
That you really get a sense for what makes Spider. I mean, the whole movie is a statement on what makes Spider-Man
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
In fact, okay, so the thing is, this is actually I think it's in the trailer or in something, but I don't know if I want to tell you because it's about Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
Shit, I don't want to tell you. Okay, can I just tell you a quote? I won't tell
Yeah,
you
just
who
tell me a
says it.
quote. Just it's fine, man.
Okay,
It's fine.
there's a name in the quote. Do you mind it?
I don't mind.
Okay, so the quote is like, okay, so Miles asks,
Yeah,
"When do I know that I'm ready?" Right?
yeah,
And then this person tells him, "You don't. That's all it is, Miles. It's a leap of faith," right? And that's also a very important aspect of Spider-Man that to
Man.
me is very lacking sometimes in the movies, which is that leap of faith. That moment when Spider-Man says, "Fuck it. I'm going to go do it. This is my responsibility and this is the path that I'm going to take." That is that leap of faith, where they're like, "I'm going to be Spider-Man. I don't care. I'm running head first," right? Which is one thing that the Raimi movies do not have. They don't have a leap of faith moment. Now,
Mm.
I have had a conversation about this, and we kind of concluded that it was a more of a Miles thing, more of a Miles Morales thing, the leap of faith. And while I somewhat agree, and also I would say that the Tom Holland movies were more of a Miles Morales story with a code of Peter Parker, a little bit, until the end, right? Where you
Uh,
realize that it felt like a Miles Morales story because it was just a very long origin story for Peter Parker.
yeah, yeah.
But one thing that to me is great is that leap of faith, and how every, like, for example, like, I feel like the Andrew Garfield movies managed it when he decides that, not when he goes out to find the killer, like,
Mm.
his uncle's killer, right? That's not
Yeah,
the leap of faith moment. That's the anger moment coming out, right? The
yeah,
leap of faith is when you're like, you know what? Not even the "I'm gonna be Spider-Man." It's the "I have the responsibility of being Spider-Man. I need to do this, right?
yeah. I
Like,
need to do this. Yeah,
Like I really need to start becoming Spider. I really need to start being Spider-Man. I used to be Spider-Man, but now I'm Spider-Man, right? Now
yeah,
I am Spider-Man, right? And that's when it happens. And to me, the Andrew Garfield movies do it. They do it in a specific spot. You could say that physically it's with the handstand to a drop, but I think in long term, it's mostly throughout his like dynamic with like Gwen Stacy's dad, right? Where I don't know if you've watched those movies, right? But he has like this conversation with Gwen Stacy's dad, who's a cop, before he knows that he's Spider Man. When they talk about Peter's motivations of Spider Man, right?
yeah, yeah,
And at this point, he's only Spider Man because he's basically trying to find Uncle Ben's killer. So he only targets people who he thinks might be the killer.
yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
Peter tells the cop, I think Spider-Man is actually, he stands for the same thing you stand, sir, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that part. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
remember
And
now. Yeah.
he's like, he wants to help people and give people hope. And the cop is like,
Like,
he's been targeting the same type of person, which kind of sounds like a personal grudge. So I don't think he's helping people, right? It's more, so he's trying to make it known that Peter at that point in the story is really not trying to help people. He's just using that as an excuse because he's really only trying to go after vengeance, right?
yeah,
He's really trying to avenge Uncle Ben.
yeah,
And Peter starts realizing this. And throughout the movie, he realizes that he needs to help people. And it's mostly, I think, it really shows in his first confrontation with Lizard in the bridge, where he realizes, I'm here to save people. I'm not here to find a killer. I'm not here to avenge someone. I'm here to save people and prevent those things from happening again to anyone else, right?
mm, yeah,
To me, Toby's Spider-Man he just kind of like, he had his, I get my powers, I look for Uncle Ben, Skiller, and then he just kind of became Spider-Man because he's like, shit, I can become Spider-Man, so I'm going to become Spider-Man, right?
mm.
There's never
Leap of faith.
a moment of like reflection and that leap
Oh
of
yeah,
faith that
yeah,
follows,
yeah,
right? And for Tom, you might argue there wasn't a leap of faith, and there wasn't Civil War. There wasn't a leap of faith because he was already an established superhero at that point,
yeah,
kind of quote
yeah,
unquote established. Then you see Infinity War and stuff, but his leap of faith again happens in No Way Home.
yeah,
That last moment when he jumps out of the window with his homemade suit,
yeah.
that is his leap of faith,
True.
because that is when he becomes Spider-Man, because he realizes the responsibility of being Spider-Man. These last three movies for him have been that reflection period of thinking about what it means to be Spider-Man. And he finally found the answer, and he finally took that leap of faith of being like, this is my life. I am Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
I am Spider-Man. And he took that leap of faith. And that's something that I think the Raimi movies are missing. That's why I don't really like people who defend the Raimi movies to fucking death. I don't think he's a bad Peter Parker. I don't think he's a bad Spider-Man. But
It's not
I do
perfect.
acknowledge that
Yeah.
it has a lot of flaws to it.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
flaws, but it's just missing something,
Yeah, lacking.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I've been talking for a long time, so what are your thoughts on the
You
movie?
have, man.
What are your thoughts on the movie?
Gosh. I just I don't know what will happen next um for the next Spider-Man or for the next Spider-Man movie. Like, will Venom be the villain, or will he become a symbiote with Venom and then try to fight Venom? I don't know.
I
It's
th-
confusing.
I think he's
Maybe
definitely
they'll.
gonna get the symbiote suit at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. So at
Yeah,
some point. Yeah.
definitely. I was actually coming up with this theory, talking to
Yeah.
my brother about this,
Yeah.
where you know how he gets the symbiote suit in the comics.
How?
So it's like I don't remember exactly, but like the quick rundown of it is like
Yeah.
so after Secret Wars, right?
Mhm.
Um, like his suit gets all fucked up. A lot of superhero suits get all fucked up during Secret Wars. Some
Yeah.
bullshit. But they get replacements. Spider Man doesn't get a replacement, so he's like, ah, shit, right?
Yeah.
So he goes look for a replacement, and then I believe Julia Carpenter, which is like Spider Woman,
Oh, okay.
um,
Yeah.
approaches him and tells him about this thing, blah blah, to get a new suit. Basically, it's a symbiote suit. He gets the suit. It's a black suit that makes him powerful and it helps him shoot organic webs without web shooters. He's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is cool. So he uses it for a while, and then he's like, wait, this shit is a symbiote that's consuming my DNA. I need to get rid of it. So he goes to a church, gets rid of the symbiote. Then the whole Eddie Brock thing happens, right?
Yeah.
But but yeah, that's how he gets it. So I was thinking that maybe he keeps his homemade suit for majority of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like halfway through the movie, it gets way too damaged, and he can't fix it. He doesn't have the resources to fix it.
So you,
He no longer has backing from fucking Stark Industries to just craft the
yeah.
magical fucking super armor.
Yeah.
So he's like, shit, I ran out of fucking like cloth or some shit, right? I ran out of latex.
Yeah.
And so he finds the symbiote and he's like, wait, this is a new suit, right? There's like a fucking new suit, but it's organic, right? I could
Yeah.
use this. And then basically same story. He realizes that it's not good,
Yeah.
and then he ends up like fighting it, and then they become
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and then maybe they make up at the end like they do, reluctantly. Um and it's all good. But I honestly, you know what I would really love? One of the things that I'm praying for,
Yeah. What
I
is it?
I kind of want them to drop the subtitle like pattern, like Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. Like I know the Homecoming trilogy's gone, but I don't want them to create an.
It's always home. You know
I
what I
don't want
said?
them.
You know what I
Nope.
said at the end of the movie? I said, you know how it's like it's gonna be a new movie after this. Oh, I said Spider-Man, no one's home.
No, but
No one's home, literally.
this was the Homecoming trilogy, right? So it made sense. But here's the thing,
True.
and also that's the thing. It's the Homecoming trilogy. It was Peter Parker's homecoming, and he finally went through it, and now he's a man.
Yeah, he's home.
But so you have all those movies, and I actually kind of want them to stop with Spider-Man. No way. I I don't want them to create a new subtitle or a new title like archetype or whatever. I want them to like give him a prefix, like a title, like the Spectacular Spider-Man, and
Oh,
then
prefix. Yeah.
and then start just naming the movies 1, 2, and 3. So the Spectacular Spider-Man 1, not 4, 1. The Spectacular Spider-Man 1, the Spectacular Spider-Man 2, the Spectacular Spider-Man 3. It could be anything. It doesn't
True.
have to be spectacular, right?
Yeah. The
As long as
prefix.
it's not
Yeah.
amazing, it's cool, right? Or
Yeah.
avenging. As long as it's not the Avenging Spider-Man or the Amazing Spider-Man, I'm good.
Yeah.
And just start naming them 1, 2, and 3 because it's really not the fourth movie. It's really his first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, that would make
because
sense. Yeah,
the other ones were Spider Boy movies,
yeah,
coming of age movies for
coming of
him, like
age
origin
movies,
stories,
basically.
and
Yeah,
this is his
yeah,
first story as really Spider Man. I also want to see
yeah.
more Daredevil like team ups. Um, I want to see Daredevil
Oh
team ups.
yeah, I
I
forgot
really
about that.
exactly.
Will we see him in the
Oh yeah,
Marvel
100%.
Cinematic Universe?
Yeah, no,
Definitely.
Daredevil is confirmed to be coming to the MCU, and he
Oh,
already
okay.
did so.
Oh
But
yeah, true, true, true.
here's the thing:
Yeah,
because he was introduced in Spider Man No Way Home, and because in the comics Daredevil he is really interconnected with Spider Man. In fact, his first team up was against Spider Man, and his first real like big villain for Daredevil was actually Electro. But
oh,
and also his main like villain is Kingpin, and Kingpin is also a part-time Spider-Man villain. So it's like they share a lot of stuff, and they usually
yeah,
work together as well because they're both protectors of New York, right?
yeah,
Kind of. I mean, Daredevil's more like a protector of Hell's Kitchen than anything, and Spider-Man does everything, but mostly focuses on Manhattan because that's where he can swing around the best.
yeah.
But but it's I want to see those team ups because I also right
Hey
now.
guys, yep, we're recording.
All
Sorry
right,
about that.
so
That was just like a
yeah,
huge.
as I was saying before the bathroom break,
Yes, about that.
as I was saying before the bathroom break, the whole Daredevil and Spider-Man team up situation.
Yeah,
I think like I really want to see it. It has been kind of confirmed that Daredevil is going to be like everywhere in the MCU, so I'm hoping to see him a lot with Spider-Man, even if it's just like a tiny little cameo here and there,
yeah,
and some like big team up events. But I'm
yeah.
also excited to see Spider-Man like dealing with like Punisher and um and Moon Knight,
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah,
in the upcoming show for which nothing has been confirmed yet at the time of this recording, December 2021.
yeah.
Um, but um, but yeah, I'm
I just
excited for
remembered
that.
that.
I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm not gonna get into it yet because I can't look into the future, so I don't know
Yeah,
what's gonna happen. But I don't know what's gonna happen like 2 months from now. Like
yeah.
February and January. I don't know what's gonna happen then. So I'm just gonna not gonna elaborate too much on that. But I am excited to see both of those.
Yeah,
But but I think I think it's time we like talk about the main topic we were gonna talk about. 2021. How's it been? How's it been
yeah.
for you?
Wait, hang on. Yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions, to be honest.
Yeah,
I have my notes here, if you don't mind.
of course.
Well, wait,
You're
wait,
organized.
no,
I,
no, no.
I, I got all my
Actually,
notes in my.
I'll talk about the continuation of that movie right after this. Yeah, don't worry. This will be brief, I promise. So like my 2021, it started off with me buying an Xbox One for my best friend Jimwell, and then I got the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate at a discounted price at the time, which I didn't realize was expensive. Like
The
holy
Game
shit!
Pass, bro.
No,
Fuck
not the
yeah.
Game Pass, the Ultimate one, like the one where you get like the EA games and the Game Pass and the PC games and all that. But this one was the Game Pass Ultimate. Even though I got it at a discounted price, but when it went back to the normal price, I was shocked because of how expensive it was
You
compared
know
to
what's
like
fucking weird
what?
about the Game Pass?
Yeah, what is it?
I was checked it and it was pretty goddamn expensive, but I saw a thing I was on my girlfriend's computer and she had like this little notification from the like Xbox store, whatever the fuck,
Yeah,
saying that she could get like 3 months of Game Pass for $1.
yeah.
And I was like, why the fuck didn't I get that?
That's what I got, but instead of the Game Pass, I just got the Ultimate one, which was like 3 months worth of $1 though. But still, anyways, and yeah, and I continued my late 2020 course, but I didn't complete it because I had to discontinue that course because to prevent my mental illness from relapsing. At one
Mm-hmm.
point at February, I was considering to become an ESL teacher. You know
What was
what
that?
ESL teacher is, right? English as a secondary language. So, like, instead of
Mm.
English the subject teacher, like English as the language teacher.
To like teach people how to speak English,
Yeah, pretty much.
how to properly speak.
Yeah,
You teach people how to speak English, all right?
yeah. And then on 25th of March, our family's dog Snoopy passed away. And then
Uh,
at April, I had three hallucinations over the course of a few weeks right after his death. I dreamt of him still being alive as well. And
Damn.
oh man, there was also um this birthday party of my younger brother. It was the first time he actually threw a party where he invited friends over and classmates over. And like I think he got so drunk to the point where he just knocked himself out. Like he started vomiting and he just fell asleep. And then my parents had to tell him the guests, like his friends and his classmates, to leave because he just fell asleep. I
Man,
was
that's
like,
why I don't fuck with alcohol, bro. I want to stay aware and awake at all
yeah,
moments. You
yeah,
know, if
man,
someone's gonna attack me, I want to be aware of it.
yeah. And what else was there? Oh yeah, in July in that year, 2021, I published my first ebook on Amazon Kindle for $5 Australian, which is like basically less than $4 US.
Hmm.
It's just titled Desperate
It's a good
Times.
price for an ebook, though.
Yeah. It's got 80 poems divided into four topics or chapters, which are love, politics, mental health, and narrative poems.
Hmm.
And in August,
Yo, can
I
you spit one of them? Can you spit
uh,
a poem?
nah, I can't right now, man. I'm in
Come
the
on,
middle of
bro.
something.
Yeah, you're in the middle of reciting a poem.
No,
Yeah.
no, this ain't a poem. Oh
I
man,
spit it.
this okay. So in August I bought a refurbished PS4 to play Fallout 76 with my older brother, and then later on my oldest brother hopped on as well. He bought the Fallout 76 game on PS4, and so did my cousin, and so did my younger brother. We played it for a while, but nowadays it's more like we just go on like occasionally, not very often as we used to back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in September I plan to do game developing as a hobby this year, but I'm kind of iffy on it because I don't know how to get there. But I'll try to get there. It's just a
Gotta
hobby, of
try,
course.
bro.
Yeah, I gotta try somehow.
Yeah. You know, things ain't gonna happen in a month, but if you don't do anything in that month, it's not gonna happen in 1 year either.
Yeah,
So you gotta do something.
you gotta
I
do
will
something.
say though, as
Yeah,
far as game development goes, because I was super into that. I don't
yeah,
know, but my passion for it has just been fading away, bro. My passion for anything technology related has just been like almost absolutely fucking wiped. But still gonna study computer science. Gonna keep it strong because
yeah. Gotta have a passion for something at least.
yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
gotta have something.
yeah,
That's not my plan. You know what my
yeah,
plan
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah,
I'm not gonna talk about it here because haters be out there with their ears listening. But
yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
but uh, but yeah, that's not my plan. So I'm not planning to like focus on that. But
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
yeah. And in the same month, my younger brother bought a barbell and a dumbbell weight set for us, but I mainly use it since he goes to the gym. And
Yeah.
November last year, my best friend Jimwell offered me to live with him and his girlfriend. And also, it was the first time I was in a bar with him.
Where's Jimo from?
He's from Philippines. That's his nationality, but
Yeah.
he's born here in Australia. So like,
Yeah, because
um,
Jimwell is not a very Australian name.
yeah, it isn't.
Damn,
Um,
a Muslim Filipino.
well, he's not Muslim by birth. He just became Muslim later on.
Oh,
Like he
that's
chose
weird.
to be. Yeah. It's 12 o'clock. Shit, sorry, it's my MacBook.
Got
It's
charge
12
your
o'clock.
shit, bro.
It's 12 o'clock, just out of nowhere. But anyways, yeah, in December, Jumal and his girlfriend moved to this new place that's much closer, and I was very excited to. Because I was planning to move out with him, but plans changed. Of course, different circumstances happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I messaged my aunties about this in December, but um,
Yeah, you
yeah, plans
messaged them
changed.
this month, earlier this month.
Who?
You
My
messaged them like earlier this month,
yeah, my
December.
best friend. Uh, Jamal.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I actually spoke to him a while ago. Oh, just recently. I think a few days ago. I spoke to him in person.
Yeah. What do you say?
he's just wondering like how come I couldn't move out. Well, I couldn't move out because for what this main reason is because the you know how I was planning to do this like social security thing where
Yeah.
you because I applied for the social security payment because I'm currently diagnosed with mental illness and like this pension where you get it from with disability pension, right? And like
Mhm.
I can't get it. Well, the specific one I have in mind is supported independent accommodation, where um this is the problem I have because I can't live with him. I can't choose to live where I want to live because they get to choose where I live. You know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
like I get to choose wherever I want to live. Yeah, that's why. And yeah, that's how my 2021 went. How about you, Jay?
That was
Cause
very fucking eventful. I mean, mine was I
just
think it was a downward spiral into madness.
oh
Um,
really? Oh man.
no, it's just my years. I don't really have like highs.
What?
Um,
You
it's all
serious?
pretty, pretty standard. I'd say a
Oh.
lot of shit happened in 2021 that I can't talk about because
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
haters
Privacy.
are listening.
Haters,
Um,
haters. Yeah.
yeah, now I hope that this coming year, 2022,
It's a
um,
good year. Yeah.
yeah, the one that's starting just now in a few days.
Yeah.
Um, I hope that it goes super well.
yeah.
For now, I'm just kind of chilling. I'm deciding what to do moving forward. It's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that isn't quite certain. Nothing in my life really is very certain.
Same here.
Uh, so we're just pushing along. People like
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
we just got to push along.
Yeah, but
See what happens.
what I wanted to mention earlier, because I was talking about how my 2021 went was what do you think of the next movie of the MCU phase? Um, what's it called? Doctor Strange,
Yeah, into the
Multiverse of
multiverse of madness.
yeah. What do you think of that?
Well,
Like, I'd
well,
like to break this
well.
up. Sorry.
Since we haven't, you know, nothing has been confirmed yet.
Yeah.
Uh, since the movie, the trailer just came out a
Yeah,
few
the
days ago.
teaser, yeah, trailer, yeah.
Yeah. Came out like a few days ago when No Way Home released.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. But I did have like a vision in my dreams that a Fox producer would like say that like Deadpool was gonna be in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
well, in my vision, he
Oh,
said
okay.
that Fox characters are gonna be in it, and it's most likely gonna be Deadpool because I don't think it's gonna be the X-Men.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I also had a vision that Danny DeVito was gonna be in it as Wolverine.
What? Oh, what? What?
Yeah, I had
Are
a
you
vision. It
serious?
was weird.
What
Yeah,
the hell? Are you serious? Danny DeVito?
yeah.
Oh,
And
fuck.
also, my personal theory is that I do think Daredevil is going to be in it. I think Ghost Rider is going to be in it.
You know, I had this. I saw this post on Facebook or something like that. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
basically like it was gonna be like it was gonna be like Spider-Man No Way Home all over again, where like they had the previous Spider-Mans show
yeah.
up, but this time they'll have cameos of previous Marvel movie characters show up. If you get what I'm saying, like the pre MCU
Yeah.
characters. Do you think that will happen or not? It's just a fan
Here's the
theory.
thing: things are the way things are panning out, and some theories that have been running around, some visions that I've had, and some rumors that I've heard, and leaks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's all pointing towards the fact that it's going to include some more like variants of characters. Like,
oh yeah.
for example, like Tom Cruise is set to be in the movie. A lot of people are saying that it's a foregone conclusion that he's probably going to be a different variant of Tony Stark. Um, now, I personally hate that idea. I do not like it. I heavily dislike the idea of bringing different versions of characters, unless it's like a joke, like Danny DeVito being fucking Wolverine. You know, but a light
yes.
joke, like one
Yeah.
joke, because
Yeah, that's
also
it.
the tone in the movie that we saw in the trailer that came out a few days ago when No Way Home released
Yeah.
was very serious.
Yeah.
I also think Mephisto is going to be at least name dropped.
Oh yeah.
But I guess we'll have to wait and see because that movie is it's coming out in in a few months.
Wait, I thought
May
Mephisto was a villain of
2022.
Ghost Rider. Is he a villain of as well?
Mephisto's just a villain of
Ah, okay.
everyone.
Yeah.
He is the person who gave Ghost Rider the Spirit of Vengeance,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
person who gave Johnny Blaze the Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's just like Satan, or like a close approximation to Satan.
Yeah.
So he deals with a lot of people. He's tried to taint Spider-Man. He's tried to taint a lot of people throughout
Yeah.
time. In fact, the whole thing with Peter Parker after Civil War, the Brand New Day storyline, is because he made a deal with Mephisto to bring back Aunt May and also like erase his identity from public knowledge, which ends up destroying his marriage with Mary Jane. But which
Oh,
is
okay.
basically No Way Home. No Way Home is basically just Brand New Day, but Doctor Strange instead of Mephisto.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard that as one of the theories. They thought, I think it was game theorists or something. Like he thought Mephisto was gonna be in the movie or something.
yeah, but game theorist is fucking stupid, bro. Matt Pat is so dumb. He's just straight up so fucking dumb.
Yeah. I was like thinking, like, how many of these theories actually does he actually get correct, or like?
None, bro. Have you seen his Persona 4 theory?
No, I
Dude,
haven't.
look, I know you haven't played Persona 4,
Yeah, I
right?
haven't. Yeah.
But Matt Pat, he claimed and implied multiple times during the video that he had played it multiple times, right? And the entire theory
Is wrong.
hinges on the fact that he did not play the game.
Oh my gosh, he didn't play the game.
If he had
How could he
played the
say? How
game,
could he say that?
there's literally scenes in the game that explicitly contradict his theory, that explicitly say, no, this is not the case.
Oh man, I'm
But he
glad we
didn't
had this
goddamn
talk.
play the. If he had played the game, he would not have any argument to say what he said. But
God damn.
it is whatever. He is Matt Pat. He's gonna get money regardless.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. It's just
good for him. He can feed his family. Wish
yeah.
nothing but the best for him. But the dude is fucking stupid.
um, yeah. Speaking of this topic, just regarding superheroes and comic books, do you read comics books yourself?
Yeah, of course.
Digitally or like physically, or both?
Both, mostly digitally, because getting them physically is pretty damn expensive.
Yeah, I heard.
Um, I mean, I pay for digital comics. I don't pirate comics. They don't. Um,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know. Getting them physically is just a hassle.
Yeah,
So
it is.
I
I
do
can
have some
imagine.
physical.
Yeah,
I do get
it's
some
gonna
physical
pile up.
comics from time to
Yeah,
time, but I mostly read digitally.
yeah. Cause like I don't read comics, but I've been reading this. Well, this manga. Well, mainly because it's the continuation of this anime. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know this anime named Dragon Ball Super, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I've just been reading the manga and I caught up recently because the anime hasn't been re- like they haven't continued the anime for like what 2 years or so or something like that, maybe more. I don't know. But like there's gonna be a new movie coming out. It's like coming this April or something. Which is well, I just enjoyed reading the manga. I'm just wondering why they haven't like made or continued the anime yet. I was like shocked. Which I gotta say, the manga. I don't want to spoil it, but like I'm just gonna say this like I don't know why he feels more violent than usual.
More
Like
violent.
yeah, I don't know why. Like for some reason they had some swearing in it as well. I was shocked. Like usually they in Dragon Ball Super they toned it down a bit with the violence and the
Well, it's
swearing.
because anime goes out to like a more general medium.
Oh yeah, you're
Something,
right.
especially something like Dragon Ball, that's going to go out to like, it's a shonen, so it's going to go out to young people
Yeah,
on TV and stuff in Japan. So they got
yeah,
to tone it down a little bit. But a manga is usually going to go to the hands of like people who actually care about it.
yeah,
They have to hold back less, just like in like movies and like for example, like what I believe we talked about this before the bathroom break.
yeah,
But it's like the same thing with comics. Like how like Hawkeye like loses his hearing in the movies or in the show,
yeah,
um, because the whole like Thanos situation after the whole explosions and everything,
yeah.
it like damages his ears. But in the comics, it's because Kingpin set someone out to kill him, and the person stabs Hawkeye in both ears with arrows,
Oh,
right? So and that's why he
wow.
goes deaf. So, it definitely also happens in like comic book related stuff where like the
Yeah, yeah,
comics
yeah.
are much more gruesome than which is something that I love about like the Netflix shows. Like
Oh, really?
Punisher and Daredevil did not shy away from being incredibly fucking
Yeah, I
violent.
was about to bring that up because there's this manga. Well, I haven't read it, but I've just watched the 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 original anime for it, but it was very brief, and it's because it's like this manga. Oh my gosh, man, it's the most metal thing you will actually see in a manga because it's like think of like it's dark fantasy, right? It's like
What is this? The Berserk?
it's sort of like Berserk, but it's got more perversion and like more like crazy art, I should say. If the latter half of the manga, from what I've read or heard
What's
from
it
the
called?
videos, bastard. Well, you're supposed to scream it because there's exclamation marks, but like it's
Best.
the main character's name is Dark Schneider. It's like so OP, bro. Like I was like I didn't like I watched the anime of it, but like apparently they're gonna like remake it or something like that in Netflix or something. And I
Yeah.
hope they don't tone down the violence and the perversion, because if they do this, man, oh
That's
man, fuck.
that's another one of my worries with like Moon Knight is
Oh
that they're
yeah,
gonna
they're
because
gonna tone it down. They're
Moon
gonna
Knight and Punisher are like arguably the most crude, raw, and like
violent.
brutal
Yeah,
comic characters in Marvel, right?
yeah,
And I'm worried they're gonna tone it down a little bit, but
they probably will,
I don't
most
think they
likely.
are. I
In the
don't
net.
think they
Oh,
are.
because it's Netflix. That's right.
No, it's the Disney Plus show.
Oh, how could this be Disney?
But here's the thing. The trailer showed that they're probably not. The trailer that hasn't come out yet, I don't think that I had a vision about. It showed that they really have a grasp of what the character's supposed to
Oh my
like to
gosh.
set the tone. But
Yeah.
also, I had another vision
Yeah, what's your vision?
where Kevin Feige, the producer for the MCU, said
Yeah.
that the Moon Knight show is going to be brutal and they're not going to hold anything back. So,
Okay.
which also gives me hope because since Daredevil and Punisher and all the Defenders are going to be coming to the MCU to Disney Plus, because I had a vision that they're actually going to get pulled from Netflix and sent to Disney Plus, the shows. I
Yeah.
do think when they bring Punisher into the MCU and Daredevil, it's gonna be way. It's still gonna be really crude and raw and brutal. I
Yeah.
don't think they're gonna tone it down. Um,
Hmm.
Another reason I'm saying that is because they're gonna introduce a lot of street level superheroes, like Punisher, Daredevil, Moon Knight, even Spider Man after No Way Home, right?
Yeah.
Blade. A lot of people who can work in the street, but they also have like the fucking celestial level superheroes like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, the Eternals, stuff like that, right? So I feel like those, like Miss Marvel, Captain, they're gonna stay PG-13 for the
Oh
most part,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're gonna be like the theater spectacles. And I
Yeah.
feel like the street level superheroes like Moon Knight, Daredevil, Punisher, Spider Man are gonna be more R rated. I think Spider Man is gonna venture into R rated and PG-13 because you can't have a Spider Man that's always R rated. You
Oh
need him
yeah.
to be PG-13, but you also need him to tackle R rated
All right.
topics and R rated
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
situations, especially since he's going to be dealing with Daredevil, Punisher, Moon Knight,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I do think they're not gonna hold anything back with Punisher, Daredevil, Moon Knight, and even Spider Man sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they come out with.
Just before we continue, you mentioned no, I just want a question. I just have a question for you. Do you know anything about why they made not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel? That's her name, right? Captain Marvel, or
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. Why
blonde
did they
chick.
change her? Why did they change her from a guy to a girl? Like, I'm just curious. I know before it was a guy because I played this game, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, 2, I think. Oh no, maybe it was something like that. It was
Uh,
on PSP basically, but
yeah, no. The
yeah.
Ultimate Alliances are great. No, but even the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance had Miss Marvel as like
Oh yeah,
a
I know,
female.
but like, I'm just like, wasn't it? There's another character
The thing
called
is,
Captain
the thing is,
Marvel.
the thing is, her name was Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Then after some stuff happened in the comics, she became Captain Marvel, took up that
Ah.
spot. And then
Yeah.
Miss Marvel now is another chick, is a Muslim chick. who is the? Have you
Oh
seen
yeah,
the
that's
Avengers
right.
game?
Yeah, Kamala Harris or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. Well, as the vice president of the United
No,
States.
sorry, shit. No, shit. Oh fuck! Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Shit. Oh my god. Kamala Khan, Jesus.
Jesus Christ, bro. Yeah,
Jesus
Joe
Christ,
Biden,
man.
Captain America. Yeah.
What's next? Fucking Joe
Uh,
Biden's Captain America and the ending of.
Kamala Harris, bro. Uh,
God damn,
but
man, that's a major fuck up, bro. Fuck, man. Got you
but
in 4K, man. Nah, man,
but
got
yeah,
you on
that's why
24K
we're
audio.
gonna have like Captain Marvel movies and the Miss Marvel show because they're
Yeah.
different characters. But it's gonna be interesting. I do hate Miss Marvel. I always hated her, not
Yeah.
because she's a Muslim, but just I just think her powers are really boring, and I think she's
Oh
a really
yeah.
boring character. But
Oh man.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do, but honestly, coming into the new phases. I
Yeah.
feel like the MCU peaked with Endgame, but I feel like they
Yeah.
also peaked with No Way Home, and also Daredevil and Punisher are fucking peaked as well. And I feel like Moon Knight's gonna peak. So I feel like to me, I'm coming into the new phases. Gonna pay almost really no real attention to like the celestial superheroes like Captain Marvel and all that
Oh
shit.
yeah, yeah, of
And I'm
course,
gonna be
yeah.
paying a lot of attention to Daredevil, Punisher,
Yeah, street
and all
level,
the
yeah.
street level superheroes because those have always been my favorite.
Yeah.
I've actually never really liked all this like celestial shit going on in Marvel. I respect some of the shit, but I don't
Yeah.
really like whenever like a Eternals thing comes out of like
Yeah, I didn't
like
like. I haven't seen
celestials
Eternals
and
though.
all
I
this
heard it was
shit.
bad.
Like in the comics and everything, I really don't care. I don't like it. I like street level shit.
Yeah.
Which is something that I like about Marvel.
Yeah.
DC, I feel like a lot of DC is very celestial and
Yeah, I can
very
imagine.
little of it
Yes.
is contained to the
Yeah,
street.
the
Which
philosophy.
is
Yeah.
like, look, I don't like DC that much. I really don't. But
I
I
agree.
think Batman is one of the greatest superheroes I've ever seen. And he is definitely in my top 5 superheroes of all time.
Damn.
Batman is
Yeah.
amazing. But I feel like DC doesn't contain it, which is not bad. It's not objectively bad. It's just not my thing.
Yeah,
I know there's
that's
a lot
right.
of people who, when they look at a superhero, they want to see something like Captain Marvel, like Superman, like
Yeah,
Green
I
Lantern.
know.
You know?
Yeah.
But when I look at like a compelling superhero story, I want to see something like Daredevil, like Moon Knight, like Spider Man, like
Yeah.
like Punisher and stuff like that. I want to
Yeah.
see even like Captain America, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I want to see stuff that is more contained to Earth and to more street
Yes.
level stuff, and not like let's go to like 12 different dimensions, like beyond, and like destroy this fucking like planet eating bullshit thing. Like uh,
Yeah.
I do love me some stories like that. I think Galactus is great. I love Ghost Rider, even though he has to do with fucking hell and all this bullshit. But I feel like
Yeah,
hell.
this
I feel
bullshit.
like he's still very street level to me
Yeah, I
because
agree. Yeah.
hell to
Wait, is
me
it
is like
what iteration of Ghost Rider is he now? Like, I heard it's like what's his name? He's got a different name. He's not Johnny Blaze anymore or something.
well right now there's Robbie Reyes, which is
Yeah,
the
that's
one
the
that a
one I
lot of people are
remember.
talking about.
Yeah.
He's also the one that was on. I mean, Johnny Blaze still exists, but
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he's the king of hell. But Robbie Reyes is also has the spirit of vengeance side of him.
Yeah.
Um, but he's actually the one that was in Agents of Shield. He was like the main Ghost Rider in that show. Um, Roberto
See.
Reyes. I like him as a character. Honestly, I never liked him in the comics. His design is garbage, but I feel like Agents of Shield really like did him justice. Um,
Oh, okay.
like made him into a good character. I do feel in the MCU, the Ghost Rider that they're gonna use is gonna be Johnny Blaze, not um, Robbie Reyes. I
Oh,
mean, they
okay.
already were talking about casting for Ghost Rider, and they were talking about like Johnny, like Nicolas Cage, and like a bunch of people. So it's definitely going to be Johnny Blaze, not Robbie Reyes,
Oh, okay.
because that one already had Gabriel Luna in it. But but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. I love Ghost. I mean, my top 5 Marvel super. What's your top 5 Marvel
Oh man,
superheroes?
I can't say because I haven't read much or watched much to be honest.
Like from what you know.
From what I know,
Yeah.
Man, it's really hard to say, man. I don't know, man. I can't really say much because. You go first, man. I can't really. I don't know what to say, man. I'm
Okay, to
speechless.
me, growing up, it was always very static. You know,
Yeah.
growing up to me, for me, it was always Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Daredevil, Deadpool, Ghost Rider, and I used to switch out the fifth spot between Iron Fist and Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
Um, but um, like right about when I was like entering my teenage years,
Yeah.
um, I started reading more and more.
Yeah.
And and my top five changed to Spider-Man, Daredevil,
Oh,
Ghost
okay.
Rider. Those three are always going to be my top three. Um, Punisher and Moon Knight.
Oh, okay.
Now there are things that I do change sometimes. Sometimes I do switch out like either Punisher or like I switch out like Punisher slash Moon Knight for maybe Wolverine. But now that I look at it with a super clear mind and having read way more from
Yeah.
like back then and having watched way more and having really, I mean, of course, as you grow older, you're going to read more if you
Yeah.
read them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Of course. Yeah.
as I've solidified my opinion, I think I'm pretty comfortable at leaving it at Spider-Man, Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Punisher, and Moon Knight. Um, my top five still includes Wolverine, um, Iron Fist. Who else would be top five for me?
Who
I mean,
else?
I've always loved Black Panther, so I'm gonna put Black Panther up in there. Can I include villains as well?
Yeah. Sure. Why not? Top
I
five villains. Yeah.
Taskmaster. Um,
Taskmaster. Who's he the villain of again?
he's just a general villain, but they made him the villain in the Black Widow movie, which I hate.
I
Because
haven't seen the Black
one,
Widow movie.
they made Taskmaster a woman, which
What?
look not terrible. I mean, I don't hate women, but also
Yeah.
the character's supposed to be a dude. Don't change it that much.
Oh
But
yeah. Of
even that's
course.
not my biggest problem with it. I could
Is it
overlook
the
that.
personality or the
It's just no, it
traits?
doesn't have any personality.
Oh.
It's literally a silent character. But
Oh
also,
what?
what it does is so you know what Taskmaster's thing is?
Yeah. What does he do?
Okay,
Or
so
she
I'll
do?
give you a rundown of the comic book
Yeah.
version
Run.
and then
Yeah.
the
Go.
movie version
But we're
movie
gonna make
version.
it
You
quick,
tell me.
Jay, because
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
running
yeah,
out of
don't worry.
time. We've got like 4 minutes.
Don't worry. So, Taskmaster, he
Yeah.
was born with a super good memory.
Whoa.
Then he got into Shield because of that. That memory meant that he can memorize and completely like copy anyone's moves just by watching them once.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and that's the interesting thing about fighting him. Like if Spider-Man fights him, he immediately fights like Spider-Man. So Spider-Man has to look for clever ways to fight him, and that's what makes Taskmaster so interesting and difficult to fight for anyone.
Yeah.
Um, and so you have these things. Then he has memory loss because he took the super soldier serum. He stole like an experimental version of it, gave him memory loss, but also made him
Oh.
super strong and stuff. But
Yeah.
because of the memory loss, he cannot remember things, only moves. So he has this thing where he cannot remember like what he had for lunch
Damn.
because he only has space in his mind for memorizing moves. So he doesn't remember anything about anyone. In fact, there's moments where he like if he really likes someone or feels touched by someone, he will try to remember how they fight and fight them
Yeah.
just so he can remember something about them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
In the movie, it's the daughter of like the like the headmaster at the in the Black Room, which was the like academy that trained Black Widow,
Oh,
um,
okay.
who almost got killed, and then she got inserted with a chip inside her armor or some shit that made her like be able to copy people's moves, and also she's under mind control by her father or some shit.
Yeah.
She doesn't talk at all. When Taskmaster is like he's notable for having like almost like Spider-Man like personality, where he's like quippy and stuff.
Yeah.
But she doesn't talk and everything. And also her design is terrible. Taskmaster has like a skull mask. He looks like a skull
Oh.
and everything. And this one, it just looks like a special agent. And that's it. I don't like her. I think it's a stupid fucking twist on Taskmaster. I feel like if you change the name, it would be a great villain. but you didn't.
Yeah.
It's just a
That's
waste of
just
Taskmaster, in my opinion.
doesn't do any
Taskmaster could have
justice.
been an amazing villain somewhere else, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Um. I guess we should wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or comic book
Uh,
related, or?
Not really, no. Can cap it off there. I think I'll talk more about like the Moon Knight situation maybe in January, February 2022 when we get more
Yeah.
information about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll wrap it up. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.